Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker, coming to you with the Hangout and Highlight session. So excited about this session to be hanging out with my guy, Darius Bradley Sr., Divine Encourager, and so excited to highlight him as a best-selling author of his new book, Author 41, Book 67.
Let's go.
Let's go. Well, first, man, congratulations on all of that stuff. Man, it's been a great journey. And let's just talk about, first off, let the audience know kind of who you are and what you do, man.
Absolutely, man. Well, before I even get into that, I just want to extend my gratitude to you as always, man. If it's up the utmost, right along with my respect for you. And of course, I have nothing but agape love for you, man, and that's God's finest love. So, that's what I have for you, man. Just thank you for, just sharing your platform so that we can discuss this and just share with the world, man. You know what I'm saying? On how good our God truly is, man. So, I wanted to get that off my chest. But my name is Darius Bradley Sr. I'm also known as Divine Encourager, which means God's message. I'm a motivational speaker, but before all of that stuff, I'm a kingdom man first. I'm a husband to my beautiful bride. We've been together for 31 years, been married for 28. And together we have three phenomenal kids, man. Darius Jr. and Deon's my favorite daughter because she's my only. And my baby boy, Daniel, who's 14, but he looks like he's almost 7 foot tall. And so, man, God has blessed me to be a multiple best-selling author along with my big brother Chet Baker, who shared that avenue with me and gave me my start on this book journey, right? And outside of that, man, I am a motivational speaker, an encourager speaker, I should say. And I'm just out here, man, serving my gift of encouragement in the way that our Heavenly Father has willed me to do so, man. And so, that's my spiel.
Awesome, man. Um, you kind of hit on, your journey and some of the things that you've been blessed and fortunate to achieve. But, this is a little different here.
Yeah.
Author 41, Book 67. Kind of talk to me about kind of how this idea came about and what's the meaning behind it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, as always, man, I'm trying my best on a daily basis, man, to just stay in alignment with our Heavenly Father. And that's not easy all of the time, right? Because, I mean, let's face it, man, life get the best. Well, try to get the best of us at times. And sometimes we slip up and we allow that, right? We allow that. And so in my allowing of life getting the best of me at times, it wasn't working in my favor. And I just, one day decided that Darius, wholeheartedly, unconditionally, intentionally, and deliberately, you're going to give your life all the way to God, man. And that means being unconditional. And so I was experiencing some trials and tribulations, facing some tall Goliaths. And I went to our Heavenly Father on it. And, he was like, Darius, you're reading the word and you're reading the Bible, and that's a good thing, son. But you're reading the story of John, you're reading the story of Paul, you're reading the story of Corinthians, you're reading all of these stories, Joshua, you're reading all of these stories. Darius, what about your story? And I was kind of puzzled, big brother. And I was like, what do you mean, Heavenly Father? What you mean? And he said, well, you read in the Bible, but the Bible doesn't stop there. because you're still alive and your life is still going. So, as there are 40 authors in the Bible, son, you are author 41. And as there are 66 chapters in the Bible, that's their live experience. Your life is book 67. So you are author 41, book 67. And the things that you're going through, you're not just going to go through them. And like you and I always say, we grow through what we go through. And he said, and don't just stop there in the growth part. Share your story with others as author 41 and let them too see not only what you go through, but now how do you grow through what it is that you go through. And so share those how to's, why we should, why we shouldn't, with everyone as you're experiencing it in real time. And so that's where it came from, brother, man. Author 41, book 67. That's who we all are. And the continuation of the Bible, which houses 40 authors and 66 books in the Bible.
So good, man. So good. I just I love the, that journey and how you talked about all of that, and um the purpose and the reason behind all of it. Man, how,
Yeah,
how has this experience been for you? Like piecing it all together and, doing the writing, because not only did you have a chapter, but you have multiple chapters in the
yeah.
book. So talk to us about that, man. How has the experience been for you?
Man, to be honest with you, man, and I want our audience to really tune in, man. And I promise you guys, if you're listening with these things that we're blessed to have on our head, these ears, you're going to miss everything that Chip and I are discussing right now. So I really need you guys to lock in, lean in, and open up your heart and listen with that thing, because this isn't just our stories, but indeed, this is your stories as well. And so, the journey of writing this one was a very difficult process, but it was a very rewarding one because I wrote this book in real time. Even though it's a shared collective of all of the things that I've already been through, I was writing this as I was going through and still to this day going through some of my greatest challenges, right? And so asking, who God put on my heart to be in this book with me, with the likes of yourself and our other two brothers, Adrian and Alex. We share some true stories of hardships, some true stories of Goliaths. And so as I'm writing this, for me, big bro, I've always, every book that I've written, I'm always accompanied by tears, right? So my tears are always involved in any of my writing because I have to revisit some of those things that I've already lived and face the things that I'm currently living right now. And so that's the press part. The press, not depress, like depression or being depressed, but the press. The press through the test, which will enable us to stretch, right, and get to the prayers that God has set before us. So, in the pressing of this book, it was great, man. It was a tremendous challenge, but I knew that whatever problems that I was facing, that none of them are bigger than the promise that God has already predestined. And so that enabled me and catapulted me to continue pressing through the test because I knew if I continued to do that, then that would lead me and enable me to grasp those answered prayers that God has set before me. So it was a challenge,
Yeah.
but we're still standing.
I know you had mentioned, if you don't mind, just talk about like the couple authors. I know you sent a shout out to them, but just mention who they are. And then I'll give you an opportunity to maybe ask me a question, because
Yeah,
I'm, one of the authors in as well. And so we'll just do that,
absolutely.
man. Just give a shout out to the couple authors, the other authors that are in, and then maybe you could ask me a question.
Absolutely, man. So first and foremost, man, I definitely want to shout out all of my authors and also my publisher, man. My
Yeah.
co-author, my big brother Chip Baker, who's been a blessing in my life. You guys are witnessing us talk right now, but he's authored many books. co-authored, visionary author, and all of that. And I'm blessed to be in a series, The Impact of Influence series. I'm in about 5 or 6 of those, I think. It may be 5 or 6, I can't remember. But, that's where I got my start. And so Chip Baker is a co-author in this book. Thank you very much, Big Bro, for blessing me with your heart in this book. Also, I want to give a big shout out to my brother Charles Woods of Woods Works Publishing. He's not an author in this book, but he is the reason, the why, and the purpose that us authors were able to express and share our organic experiences. So big shout out to him for being a major contributor in this book and for this book. So Charles Woods, Woods Works Publishing, and also my other 2 brothers are Adrian Jackson, another phenomenal brother of mine, who share in his story. I'm not going to express any of their chapters. I'll leave that up to them. But their chapters are just empowering on so many levels, and just, oh man, a sense of trial and tribulation and heavy winds that they endured and pushed through. So I want to give him a thank you from my heart, Adrian Jackson, for being a co-author in the book, and also highlight and express and shout out my brother Alex Savala, who's also a co-author in the book as well. Phenomenal NICU dad, just like myself, right, who expressed his heart in a tremendous way and shared some some trials, some tribulation, and how he pushed past those adversities to continue journeying on the narrow path that God has us all on. Not only just on it, but we're being steadfast and we're becoming exactly who He created and predestined us to be. So truly, guys, my brothers Chip Baker, my brother Charles Woods, my brother Adrian Jackson, and my brother Alex Savala, they're more than just brothers to me. We're on this path as disciples, evangelizing in hopes and efforts to bring us all closer to God.
Good, man. I love it. Just great guys. Again, another shout out to Charles Woods of Woods Works Production. He's the man behind the making it all go down for the publishing for us. So if you're ever in need of publishing book, those of you that checking this out, reach out to our guy Charles Woods at Woods Works Publishing. He'll take care of you for sure. Good dude, doing some good things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
man, if you don't mind, I know you are the host, right, of the Success Chronicles, man. But, I wanna just turn this thing around for a minute, and ask you, what even, before we even get into this book, what brought about the interest of you even wanting to become an author? Because I've heard on several interviews that you mentioned, like, where you come from in the neighborhood you grew up in, you didn't necessarily see authors and have an author figure to talk to on, becoming an author and all of that. So what sparked that, Chip?
Oh, that's great. I just think the initial answer to that, what sparked me to become an author is really access to seeing that it's possible,
Mm,
right? Like you said, growing up, I wasn't around authors or didn't see any of those things. I've interviewed somebody, and I heard them say, "Man, I always thought like hardback books were for rich people."
right.
Right. No, but seriously though, I mean, as you take one step, man, I believe that your ROI determines your ROI, and
Mm,
inversely, your ROI determines your ROI. And what I mean by that is,
mm,
your return on your investment determines your radar of influence, and
mm.
inversely, your radar of influence determines your return on your investment. And what I
Come
mean
on,
by
man.
that, come on. And what I mean
Come
by
on.
that is when we take just one step to strive to do things, to be of service, to help others. And it's amazing how the big man, how God just takes care of us and puts us in places to where we're able to see things we've never seen before, and experience things we've never experienced before,
Come
and
on.
do things we've never done before and learn
Mm.
things we've never learned before,
Wow.
because I believe because he knows our heart and our intentions, right, and they're pure. And so that's bigger than me. That's above me,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
believe that that's a divine thing. And so for me, that's what it's been. I got access to be around some of those people to see that, wait, that's possible, right?
Man.
And then now, I just started the journey and just continuing to be blown away each day with the opportunities. And it goes back to this book as well, just being able to try to, just talk about that journey some. So that's where
Yeah.
that's been.
Man, well, that's good stuff, man, because I can tell you this, man, me just personally knowing you,
Hmm.
and not just personally knowing you, but having the blessing of God allowing us to do life close up like we
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
as brothers, man. I've seen that not only have your journey been a blessing to you and yours, but I've seen the residual and the overflow that spills out onto others, man. And so we have all been stained by the blessing that God has placed upon you, man. And so,
Thank you.
again, my gratitude, yeah, man, goes well beyond verbal expression for that, man. And so, let me ask you this: I know how I felt when I first got the call from you to be in the very first impact of influence, because I prayed on that, right? And you had no
Um,
idea about it, man. But it's just beautiful how our Heavenly Father just operates, man. And so He blessed me to be, He answered my prayers and blessed me to be in the book with you, and you had no idea about it. And though we share in many books together, this is one of my very first projects where I'm the visionary author this time, and I'm able to have my big bro in the book with me, man. And I gave you that call. You know what I'm saying? And so when you got that call from me, man, about being not only a co-author but being a tremendous biblical added value in this assignment, how was that? First initial thought process and posture, heart posture on your end.
I think the initial thought process was that it's a no-brainer. Let's go.
Let's go.
Man, what you talking about? Man, you know,
Let's go.
like I think the big man puts people around us in our lives that and we've talked about this before. I think you have to have yes people in your life, but more than that, you
Yeah.
have to have heck yes people in your life, if you know
Heck
what I
yes.
mean.
Yes, I
Right.
do. Yes, I
And
do.
so you're one of those people in my life. And so, I am truly appreciative of who you are and the heart that you have for others and the service. And I love how you do what you do. Um, and I've said this to you before too. Even when you don't have, you're looking to give. You know what I'm saying? And so when you have people that are just service hearted, service is in their blood. It's a no brainer when you're asked to be a part of, contribute to something that you think that'd be beneficial for them. So man, it's truly been my honor and my privilege to say yes to be in this book. You being the visionary author of this project, and it's my honor to be able to do that. And I hope that I have added value to the mission of what you're striving to achieve through this, right? And so I hope that my little old part, if you will. I hope that my little old part is can be a blessing to others, and be of greatness in the order in which you give service. And so that's really what it's been for me. It's a no brainer, man. Let's go to work.
See, y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get it out there, man. Listen, this is my big bro for real, right? I don't just say that, man. Like this is a blessing for me
Yeah,
to be in anything. Like, when Chip put his hands on something, I want to put my fingerprints on it as well.
yeah,
When he
man.
places his foot somewhere, I want to be certain that I leave a footprint
Yeah,
as well. And so, man, just to have him a
yeah,
part of this journey with me, man. And I flipped through the pages of the book already, guys. Like I kind of looked in there, and I saw Chip Baker up in there, man, as an author, and
For
I saw that, so I
real.
was like,
He for real in the
let's
book.
go. He for real in the book. You know what I'm saying? But nah, man, your piece is going to be of so much added value, man, as it always is, man. And so, like I said, man, I'm just truly grateful for your willingness to say yes. Like you
Mhm.
always tell all of us, thank you for saying yes. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate you for saying yes, man, and just being a part of this divine assignment. And so, not only do I want to ask you that, but I do want to follow it with this. Uh, how was the infamous question that Chip Baker always asks all of us, right? How was the writing process for you, and what was that feeling like going back to revisit some of the things that you have already, and I'm gonna use the word conquered because God says we are more than conquerors.
Come
So
on.
I'm gonna use that terminology, and I'm gonna also use the terminology of David and Goliath. When you remove the head off of those Goliaths that you stood in front of as you were writing your chapter.
Man, it's been pretty cool. I think I think first, just like we talked about, just having the opportunity to do it and be a part of it. I think that's one thing that has really been neat for me, you know.
Yeah.
But then, as you know, experiencing the writing process when you write, and how we do when we write and we speak from a place of experience.
Yeah.
Right, like we write from like not a fluff place. We write from a place of experience and things that we've overcome that we can share in hopes to help others and be a blessing for them. And so, for me, the title of my chapter was the faith journey of finding your purpose. And really, I just kind of went in depth into how I was, raised, having a firm faith foundation with my family that I'm truly grateful for. They taught me to be deeply rooted in my faith, right? And so, you can have those things and have a firm foundation, but we have to choose to honor that and abide by that, right? We all have to have our firsthand faith experience. And so, when I got on my own, I went to college. I'm like, what? I ain't got to go to church, right? Like, what, man? Like, man, right?
Right.
Like, like mom and them can
Mama
instill
and
all of
them.
that. Mom and them can instill all those things into you, but it's our job to figure out and operate within those principles. And I had to
Yeah.
establish and strengthen my relationship, my personal relationship with God. As I went off to college, and I had to make sure that, hey, I choose to be in church.
Yeah.
Like I chose to follow and I chose to strive to be on the path. And so, going with the old school word, obedience.
Obedience, man. Yeah.
Obedience is an old school word,
It's,
but really it's discipline, right? And so I had to
it's,
operate in obedience, which allowed me to grow. And at the time, I didn't know that. I was just, walking into purpose, striving to do things the right way.
yeah.
And what I was seeing was, just like anything, when you put the work in, you put your head down and go to work, take care of your business, don't have distractions, lock in, focus in, you surprise yourself with the things that you accomplish. And
Yeah.
so that's what it's been for me. And I started that then, and it's been the whole way of my whole life.
Mm.
And so from that, man, I've just tried to strive to model godly traits in my everyday life, patience, kindness, love,
Yeah.
gratitude, service. Those are all things that I've strived to give in my life. And then there's lessons learned from that, right? I
Yeah.
learned,
Yeah. Absolutely.
I was guided in the right way, so I strive to give that. I was encouraged in my life, so I strive to give that. Um,
Yeah.
I have been strengthened by others, you
Yeah.
know, and so I know what all of those things feel like. So in my life, I've strived to give that. And so those are the lessons learned. And really, just what I talked about, that's the breakdown of my chapter of the
Yeah.
things that I hit on. And so, man, it's been amazing. Um, it's been really good to go back and reflect on all of those things, to see, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
if you
man.
will.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm truly grateful for it, man. I'm grateful for the
Yeah.
opportunity to be able to reflect and do all of those things. So, man, thank you for that.
Absolutely, brother. I appreciate you, man. And
Yeah.
and that's not something that you just say, Chip. That's something that you do. And for all of us who are tuned in right now, guys, like this book is more than just a read, right? It's
Yeah.
more than just it's a tangible item, but it's also, and God says, asking you shall receive, seeking you shall find, knocking it shall be open unto you. Well, this book is just that. Right. This book is the ask and you shall receive. This book is the seek and you shall find. This book is the knock and it shall be open onto you. Right. And that's the tangible, things that you can expect as a reader of this book. Is going to help you free up some things in your life. It's going to help you escape some of the strongholds that shouldn't be upon you, right? And I just recently was blessed by my brother Chip. It's been a blessing to my family and I, man, jumping some higher hurdles. And you'll be surprised and amazed, man, when spectators are watching you run your race and they see you cramping up and they see you breathing heavy and they see it seems as if your lungs are about to collapse, right? At that point, it's not about what placement you place. At that point, it's about just crossing the finish line. And Chip jumped out of the stands, brought a few people along with him. He hopped over the fence and ran through that little patch of grass and made his way to the track, right? With no track shoes on, right? So now you're risking a fall, a slip, a slide, a scrape, a bruise. But he didn't even pay attention to any of that. And I felt the arm come underneath my arms and wrap around my waist and I felt the hand grab my hand and begin to pull me in the direction that God is calling me in, where it seemed like my momentum is slowing down. And I felt someone else's right and left push upon my back. And so now I'm moving in a direction, but I'm not moving on my own. And I take a look to my left and my right, and I see my two sons and being pushed as well. And I see my daughter being hoisted on upon shoulders that I didn't even know who they were in the stands. And I see my wife right next to me and we're both moving and traveling in a direction with a speed that's not just our own. And so that's the type of person that Chip is, man. So it's not just his chapter, but it truly is his way of life. And I can say that for Adrian, Alex, I can say that for Brother Chip as well. And so we are all that push for each other, that pull for each other, that lift for each other, that shoulder, that ear, and that hand for each other. And Chip truly has reflected that and displays that in real time, right? And tremendously blessed my family and I and some of these greater challenges that we've been experiencing lately, like we all do. But even knowing that he may have had some high grass in his own backyard, he stopped pushing a lawnmower to come and cut my grass. And I'm truly appreciative of that because now he has utilized some gasoline in that thing that he could have used in his own yard, and but he decided to, hey man, I'm going to go ahead on and utilize this differently. And so, man, that's just to say, guys, like I don't want you guys to think that's just another book, right? And I'm not saying anyone thinks that way, but you know we're all going and growing through some things. And for those of us who have not yet begun to grow, this book will help you grow through your go through, right? It'll be that push, that hand, that shoulder, that ear, that pillar, that foundation that's needed for all of us, right? God says in the Bible, it's better to be the lender than the borrower. And many of us, we think about finances when we think about that saying. But the lender and the borrowing can be a smile, a helping hand, right? It can be finances as well, but it can be other items and things and generosity and capacity of expressing gratitude and saying hello to someone today or giving grace and extending those things that we know we all need. And so, man, this book, Author 41, Book 67, is an expression of all of us. We are all Author 41, and our lives are Book 67. And what we do while we're still here on this earth, because no one knows how many tomorrows, man, I'm feeling it right now. No one knows how many tomorrows remains for any of us. And so if we know that, it's a must that we live this life with a sense of urgency. We have to put a 911 calculated on the things and the ways and the areas that God is calling us to, for us to go to and for us to become, even when we don't feel like it. In those moments, we must be intentional and unconditional above all and trust Him with the mustard seed size of faith. Man, that's what we must all have. And so that's what this book is all about. I'm so grateful for these three gentlemen who wrote down what they experienced in this book, what they have overcome, and the things that they are still going through. I'm so grateful for Charles for publishing this thing, taking his time, long days and long nights, sculpting this thing and orchestrating it and flowing it the way that it can be in a way that's so seamless that's going to uplift those who are reading, who are right now going through cancer, who are right now experiencing bankruptcy, who are right now going through some of the greatest breakups in their lives that they've ever experienced. Listen, in real time, going through things with their siblings, their spouses, and their children, in real time trying to deal with the way society is handling us right now. In real time, this book will be your life support. In real time, this book will encourage you and enable you to get to where it is that God is calling you to be. Listen, in this book, I write about my father dying, my mother dying, my brother dying, my daughter being on life support, my sons being tenacious in expressing a willingness to just have an understanding and being steadfast in all that they're doing. My wife and I, the test of time in our marriage, going through the greatest adversity with our child being sick and having three kids that we have to give all of the same energy and attention to. So that's a sacrifice on her. And I, as husband and wife, we cannot be selfish and say that, honey, you're not giving me the time that I need as a husband. Honey, you're not giving me the time that I need as a wife, because in our vows we said, through better or worse, we'll stay together. Sickness and health will stay together. Rich or poor will stay together. So what season are we in right now? Am I being that help meet that God called me to be in this book and beyond the pages? Am I being who it is that He predestined me to be in all of these areas of trials and tribulations? Am I being the kingdom man that He called me to be? Am I looking just like Daddy when I'm down? Am I looking just like Daddy when I'm up? Because Daddy said that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that's not just when all the lights are green and all the money is in the bank. That's also when you're at your lowest moments and that you don't have anything in a bank account, that you can still do all things, like Paul written from jail, from prison. He wasn't writing that from a place of convenience. He wrote in prison, captivity, that he can do all things through Christ, which strengthens him. And so I believed that when I read it, because it's Daddy's words. And so we're still doing all things
So
through
good, man.
Christ that strengthens us.
That's so
In
good, man.
Jesus'
That's
name.
so good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, what I
Absolutely.
want to do now, I want to bring in Adrian Jackson, other
Let's go.
author. We'll bring him in and we'll kind of I'll ask him a couple questions.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so we're gonna bring in
Hey,
Adrian
yes.
Jackson. What's going
Hey,
on,
Jay.
man?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen? How are you?
You doing all right today?
Man, I am doing amazing. Busy
Good.
day. I got a little bit of classwork to do when this Zoom is over, and then I got another week of school I've completed. So,
There you go.
oh
Awesome,
yes, sir.
awesome. Well, let's dive into it. I know you're jumping on with us. Talk to us about your background, who you are, and what you do, so the audience have an idea of that, and then we'll dive in. I got a couple questions for you pertaining to the book.
Oh, right on. Well, it's always nice to see you, fellas. You guys always make my day brighter. When I think Myron Sims said best, and Chip Baker involved, your day is always brighter. So
Hey.
I
Amen.
have I have come to find that to be 100% true. I'm Adrian Jackson. I am the Associate Executive Director here at California's Boys Ranch, which is a residential child care facility located 36 miles north of Amarillo, Texas. My wife, Talita, and I, and our 3 kids have lived here for almost 29 years. So, um, came to work for Cal Farley's right after I graduated from Oklahoma Panhandle State University, where I was recently inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame there.
Awesome.
So, originated in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and that's my hometown. And so, yeah, I've been part of the Impact the Influence series, volume 8, 9, and 10. And now part of Author 41. I got to get this title right. Book 67.
There we
Yeah.
There
go.
you go.
There we go.
And it's been an amazing experience. So, yeah, got an array of backgrounds, things that I do. But one of the things I'm most noted for is being a professional bird dog trainer. I've also done that about 29 years. I judge all over the United States. And also, years ago, I competed. I won the American Bird Hunter National Championship several years ago. And so, yeah, that's the short version, right, Chip?
Yeah. So, well, just again, I'll just say another great guy doing great things, and for us to be a part of this together, it's always a blessing when we can
Yeah.
share our journeys and reflect on the things that have helped us in our life. So, how has this experience been for you writing this chapter in this book?
Well, it was difficult, because right when I received the email from Mr. Darius, I was just mourning the loss of a dear friend. And I read the focus point, and I had agreed to do it. I think I responded fairly quick to Mr. Darius. One is any project that he's involved in and Chip's involved in. That's always yes projects. You don't think about that, right? But I've come to realize that God works in mysterious ways, and I'm really death avoidant. I deal with grief in a very super secretive manner, but this hit me like a ton of bricks, and so I decided to write about that. And the interesting thing is, I'm kind of perfectionist. I like to write and read it, and I just couldn't do that. So my wife was really solid in that she read that thing and cried at the dining table every time she read it and gave me some pointers about it. Friday, I drove down to Abilene and met with my friend's wife, and they knew the project was coming, but I knew it was launching on Saturday, but I made that 4.5 hour trip, 4.5 5 hour trip to sit across the table and talk to her about it, in private. And it really helped with the grieving process. Me and this gentleman, we were supposed to change the world together. That's the things we talked about, and so we're gonna finish that journey.
So good. Darius and I have talked about too, when you're doing the writing, you're not just throwing things out there on paper, if you will,
Yeah.
but you have to go back and reflect and live through that pain. And, in your case, like you're actually, like the timing of it was
Oh
like
yeah.
spot on to actually work through that process.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what I want to say too about, just hearing, Darius talk about that and hearing you speak on that. And I kind of hit on that too. That's the importance of this book. Like, we're not
Yeah.
just like giving you fluff or, hey guys, try this or no. Like, these are things that we have,
Yeah.
man, the hurt and the pain,
Oh yeah.
the growth that we've experienced, and we're just trying to give our heart to those readers so that they can be better on their journey. You want to hit on that, Darius, a little bit?
Yeah, man. And as I'm listening, brother Adrian, man, I just want to tell you this, man. I'm that guy for real. I'm not. I know some men, and it's nothing against any of our brothers, man. Some of us as brothers, man, we find it challenging to express our love towards each other, right? And so we'll rather show it than to say it. But I'm the type of person I love to say it, and I definitely love to show it. And so, man, like I expressed to Big Brother Chip earlier, man, I want to express the same thing to you, Brother AJ, man. Listen, my love for you is agape, man. Um, you have a brother in us, man, right? I'm just so grateful for the sharing of your heart. I'm so grateful for your beautiful wife being a part of this journey with not only you but with all of us, right, man? I know that this was a challenge, but your tenacious spirit, right, has enabled you and yielded you to not only be a blessing to those who are in your circle, but also to those who are viewing right now outside of that circle. And I should say that because of that, you have enlarged your circle. And so thank you for wrapping your arms and your heart around us in such an ineffable way. And just saying yes, like Big Brother Chip always like to say, man, saying yes to this divine assignment and just being a part of this journey with us, man. So I love you very much, man. And I truly appreciate you, bro.
You've been nothing but solid, brother. And you're, the texting back and checking in and same, what you've been going through, your entire fatherhood, I'm glad that I could be a support to you in that endeavor also.
So
Absolutely.
good. So good.
So,
What I want to do, man, is just kind of um, we hit on those things. Kind of, Adrian, if you don't mind just sharing, from sharing this, and I'll ask you this, Darius, too, once he answers. Like, what are you guys hoping to get from this chapter and being a part of from this project? And when I say like hoping to get, that's not really what I mean. What I mean is, what are we hoping to give? Because that's what we do. We give service, we look out for others. So what are you hoping, Adrian, to give from your part in the book?
Well, the book is written in two parts. The first part is for me. I
yeah,
needed to be able to get it out. Like I needed to be able to process that day out loud.
yeah,
And so that the first part was for me to drain it all out, because I think you touched on it, Brother Darius, that sometimes us men, we don't get it out. And there's no louder way of getting something out is to write it. where the world could see it. There's no louder way, right? And so I can always go back and reflect on that. And then the second part was also for me. There's this middle section where, because I've held so much grief in, I was forced to get it all out for everybody I've grieved. And then the segment came up where I talked about like having that foundation, that spiritual foundation already set. And that was brought on by my parents taking me to church, and then solidified in my marriage with Talita. And so when these times hit, if you don't have a foundation already set, then what do you lean on? So what I'm appreciative that, one, my parents, hauled me there to church. And I appreciate of being a member of Sharon Chapel there. But I mostly appreciate it for, my wife when I went off to college and I met my wife. And, I'm ready to go buck wild like many of us, right? And she said to me, if you're going to date me, you got to go your butt to church. And I thought she was cute. And I wrote it in The Love, Impact, the Influence, volume 9. I wrote that story. And that's a very true story. And she wasn't playing. So with all those things, right? If the foundation wasn't set, if the foundation wasn't set, it wasn't reinforced in my marriage, my godly marriage to my wife, then when you have these moments like this, then what are you going to lean on? So if you haven't got that foundation set, brothers, ladies, go get it set. Go give your life to the Lord. Go set that foundation. Go. If you have one there and it's full of cracks and holes, go fill in those cracks and holes. So that's kind of where I was at with this chapter. And the truth of it is, if I never wrote the chapter and never processed, and this was the first time I would have to talk about it, I would not be able to speak of it this way. I will still be too deep into the grieving process to get a word out and be able to articulate, even to form a thought. And so I appreciate all of that. And the process and the ability to be able to do that, out of the format and the structure that Brother Darius allowed me to grieve, it was very appropriate through participating in this amazing project.
So good. I just, as I heard you talk, there was a couple of things I hit on that I wanted to, just hit on real quick. I think the first thing you say that you thought that girl was cute. So yeah, I'm going to church. Man, girl, we going to church. but man, it's amazing how like things like that sets us up for success in life. Right. And so now you guys have had a great life, great career, amazing children, all of those things, been able to work together to pour into others and pour into families and make a difference in their life. But it all starts with one good decision. And when you do that, man, the momentum builds and amazing things happen for you in your life. And then I think the other thing that I want to stress on too, that you talked about like grieving, right? And able to be able to be here. I've had to write it down before I could even talk about it, right? And then even in our lives, we have to have like systems of forgiveness too, right? So I think those are like 3 main things. Set up your firm foundation with faith. And then the couple of things in your life, you have to have systems that help you grieve, because we will all have those, right? We will all know none of us are immune from that in our life. But then also systems to set up for forgiveness, because I think, and that's communication, right? systems of how you're going to communicate and talk about things, because those people that you love the most or that are closest to you or have the highest percentage to hurt you the most, because you're close to each other so much, right? So organically, you're gonna get on each other's nerves. Right? And so you got to have some way to, hey, forgive and move on and be grateful for that. But I want to throw it to you, Darius, man. What are you hoping to give from this?
I read Brother Adrian's chapter, right? I read yours, I read Alex's, and yeah. Man, thank you again, man. Brother Adrian, man, that was a tough read, but it was rewarding at the same time, because to hear your story and to read it, you don't just see the words, you actually start visualizing the things that you're talking about. And right, and so I saw those things and areas in the way that I saw it in my own mind, in my own heart. But I couldn't just see your story without seeing mine, right? And that was the beauty in it, man. And as you expressed transitioning of your good brother, I was reminded of the transition of my father when he died of colon cancer. I was 14 going on 15. And just here in 21 and 22, I lost both my mother and my brother 20 months apart. Excuse me, 20 months apart. And my brother died unexpectedly 4 hours after I talked to him on the phone. And after he died, 14 months later, my mother-in-law died. And so I had to now become a husband to a wife that I have never been, because I've never been married to anyone that lost a parent. And so I had to be the help me to her as I'm grieving my big brother only 14 months prior. And then as soon as my mother-in-law passes away, I'm holding up my sons who lost their grandmother and their uncle, and holding up my daughter who lost their grandmother and her uncle. And my little girl is on hospice at the same time. Right. And so, and we're writing the Impact of Influence, Chip Baker's series, right? And so that was difficult. And as I'm reading that, I'm like, Adrian is writing this in times of turmoil, not in the place of now I'm comfortable now and everything is good, but I know that place is very familiar, and Chip knows it as well. And as my little girl was on hospice after my mother-in-law died, my mother is in New Orleans, where I'm born and raised, and I'm out here in Sugar Land, Texas, and taking care of my daughter. So it was hard for me to go back and forth visiting my mother. And God blessed us to go to Thanksgiving before that Christmas, which would have been her birthday, December 31st. We go into New Orleans and we visit with my mother. And I'm saying this to say that my little girl was still on hospice, but we didn't express that to anyone. So we're traveling like that, and we're not necessarily ignoring what the doctors are saying, but we're leaning on the promise of God before we lean on the hypothesis of man, right? And so we took that trip to New Orleans, and I'm thankful that we did, because that was the very last time that my children would get to see their grandmother, and they didn't know, because that following month, which made 20 months after my brother died, my mother died in my arms. I had an opportunity to visit with her for 5 days before she passed away. And I wrote about all of that in the Impact of Influence, and I wrote about all of that in our book, Author 41, Book 67. And it wasn't easy, and it's still not easy, right? Because I'm still going through some great things right now with my little girl. As we're writing this book and now celebrating and sharing this book with everyone else, my little girl is in the fight for her life right now. And if you guys don't know who's tuning in, my daughter's on life support. And she's actually the longest living person in the world, right? With the severity of her syndrome, Charcot-Levin. No one ever made it past the age of 2. And by the grace of God, Deonce is 18. And we're faced with some very trying moments, just like we all are. But my chapters illustrate that even when we are scuffed up and bruised, even when we are winded and tired, Even when we have been poked and we're bleeding, we can still get to where it is that God has called us to be, right? If we have to crawl to get there, let us crawl, right? If we have to walk before we run to get there, let us walk, right? You're looking at some brothers who are walking and crawling before we run. We're bleeding, we're banged up, we're scuffed and we're bruised. We're exhausted and we're winded, but we're still pushing, we're still pressing, we're still climbing, right? We are not without worry or stress, but most importantly, we are filled with the promise that God said that no matter what, we're more than conquerors. No matter what, no weapon formed against us shall prosper. You're looking at some brothers who truly believe that. We didn't just read it. And our belief is now being highlighted and on display for all of us to see. See, when Jesus was carrying that cross, he said, Father, for my cup is runneth over. But then he quickly reminded himself that for it not be his will, but for it be God's will. Well, that was God encouraging himself, Jesus and God, and letting him know that his word will not come back to him void. So that was a reminder to me that sometimes when we're by ourselves, we're going to have to encourage ourselves. That God said if he called us to do it, then he equipped us with all the resolve that we need to make it happen. So no matter what it is that we're going through, whether we're on life support or not, we can still breathe even if it looks differently.
So good. So good. Well, as we, kind of close here, I love for each of us to get an opportunity to share your social media. So we'll start with you, Adrian, because I love for people to, that's one thing that I'm really big on. Um, we all have value, right? We all bring value to the table and strive to be of service and help. But man, when we can come together and bring the value together, the value multiplies. And that's what this book, this experience, this project is about, a multiplication of some heat.
Come on, baby. Come
How
on.
about that? A
Right,
a multiplication of some heat, man.
right, right on, right on.
And so, man, I just hope that you guys can check this out. And again, shout out to our guy Charles Woods for publishing and putting it all together
Yeah.
for us. Shout out to all of the other authors to say yes to be involved in, Darius's project, because Darius is a great person, good heart, good soul. So man, we're all just
100%.
grateful. But Adrian, I'll start with you. Just
Yeah,
if you don't mind, share your socials where
yeah,
people can go follow you and check you out and show you some love,
yeah.
brother.
So on Facebook, Adrian Jackson, author, speaker, trainer, and Instagram at Paul Jackson Senior, and then I'm on LinkedIn at Adrian Jackson. So you may just see me on those
There it
those
is. There it
streets.
is. All right. Darius, what about you, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say thank you to you guys again, man. Give a big shout out to all of my authors and my publishing team, who are truly all my brothers, right? Chip Baker, multiple best-selling author, third generation Chip education.
Fourth.
Generation education, man. My brother Adrian Jackson, who are just doing phenomenal things out here with our youth and beyond, making a difference wherever it is that God has called him to be, in his marriage, his professional life, his passion of training dogs. Adrian, correct me if I'm wrong. I really don't know the proper title for that, but what's the
You got
proper
it.
title?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is professional bird dog trainer. You got it.
Personal bird dog trainer guys, just doing phenomenal things. And also, Charles Woods, our publishing team of Woods Works Publishing guys, where they're making your book projects possible. You need to check Charles Woods out, just another educator in administration and doing phenomenal things. Two phenomenal daughters, a beautiful wife, just a phenomenal family guy. And also our brother Alex Savala, who's also a NICU dad like myself, doing amazing things for our NICU dads in the community outside of his beautiful family. He's not on right now because he had a dance competition that he needed to attend today for his beautiful daughter. So we're wishing our niece A big congratulations and supporting her from a distance and rooting you and your wife on as well, brother Alex, man. And if you guys want to continue to go get it, that's another thing I wanted to just throw out there right quick. Both my brother Chip and I, we both utilize the term "go get it," though it's spelled differently. We both have a lot of passion behind it, so I tease a lot, man. Even though I'm the younger brother, man, we always call each other the "go get it twins." Right? And so that's my go get it twin brother. But again, I'm Darius Bradley, known as Divine Encourager. And if you want to continue to go get it with me and continue to walk on this narrow path, you can find me on Instagram at divine underscore encourager underscore. Also on TikTok, I believe it's divine dot encourager, right? And on Facebook, it's Darius Bradley Sr., I think it is, parentheses, Divine Encourager. And if that's not the proper way, then it's Divine Encourager, parentheses, Darius Bradley Sr. But either way, you'll find me capped to the back, 3 words on my chest with a lot of love, agape love for everyone. So, Author 41, Book 67. We have been blessed to become Amazon #1 bestsellers. I just want to say thank you to all of our supporters who poured into us, believed in us, continue to believe in us as we believe in each other. I just want to thank my authors and my publishing team again for just saying yes to the project, being willing to share their personal, transparent, trials and tribulations, but not only just trials and tribulations, but showing the illustration of being a David and defeating the Goliaths that are placed in front of us. So I just can't thank you all enough. We hope the pages of this book are not only inspirational, but transformative in your lives and lives of whom you come in contact with. So together we're all Author 41, and as a collective, our lives and our stories are Book 67.
Boom. Well, there it is. Just want to say again, thank you guys